Here we are at our Chapter 5, Target 2, Problem 4b. We're asked to determine the end behavior for each of these, and then we'll graph using a table of values. Now here is our function for 4b. Let's just go ahead and talk about what should happen before we actually get to the table. And in just looking at our polynomial, we are looking at that degree, so really this is that main important component. We see that we have a degree of 4 here. And again, the degree of that is that highest exponent, so here he is. And because it is an even degree, we know that we are in one of two different scenarios, that we have a u facing this way or facing this way. Now comes into the effect of the leading coefficient. Because we do see a negative leading coefficient for this, we are in the scenario where that u is facing down. So we actually should see an image looking something more like this. Now, as always, when we're talking about our end behavior, we know that there is a certain template. The first one is x goes towards infinity. F of x is doing what? Likewise, as x goes towards negative infinity, f of x is doing what? So if I was to go ahead and just draw an xy coordinate plane on this u, with here is our x-axis, here is our y-axis. Again, we have a u facing downwards. F of x is the exact same thing as saying y. So that's why we can go ahead and say f of x is going toward what? As x goes toward infinity, f of x, or our y values, we can see are going down toward negative infinity. So we should have a negative infinity. Alternatively, as x goes towards negative infinity, so as we go out this way, f of x is doing what? We see it going downward toward negative infinity. So this would be our end behavior. Now the question also asks, use a table of values to pretty much graph this item. And I'm going to go ahead and choose our x values being -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And from here I'm just going to go ahead and jump straight into finding out what are those values. And so when we throw those in there, we end up with -51, -2, 1, 0, and -11. Now from our graph, if we were just to plot those, we would have -2, -51 way down here somewhere. -1, -2, maybe he's right about here. 0, 1, be about here. 1, 0, we'll just say he's about there. And then 2, -11, maybe right about here. So if you connect the dots, well, get that one inside too, you would see roughly that shape for our graph. Again though, that is our Chapter 5 Target 2 Problem 4b from our Chapter 5 study guide.